One of the hardest things in the exterior cleaning industry, especially when you're just starting out, is getting your pricing right. You don't want to be so high that you lose all your jobs. You don't want to be so low that the job isn't worth doing. And even when you've been doing it for years, you can easily get this wrong. So in this video, I'm going to go through basic systems for working out a pricing structure. And I'm going to cover window cleaning, gutter cleaning, solar panels and pressure washing. What you need to do, I found the easiest way, is count the windows. So you'll go around a building, count all the windows, and you've got to work out for yourself a structure of what you want to charge each window. First level might be £1, second level might be £2, third level might be £3. This is what you need to work out for yourself, because it will depend what area you live in. Now, I count the ground level and the first floor as the same price, and then slightly more for the higher floors. You've got to take into consideration the size of the windows. So if you've got a very big window or a big bay window, maybe it's a sash window that's a bit more awkward, take this into consideration. So don't always count a window as one. Now, I'm not talking about counting panes. This is more for water-fed pole rather than traditional, because you'll do the whole window in one go with water-fed pole. So I'm talking about the set of windows. So if you've got like a big bay window, you might have a window either side, so that'd be 1, 2. You've got maybe 2 windows at the top, that'll be 3, and then 2 windows at the bottom, 4. So that would be 4 windows on your count. Other things that you need to take into consideration is how far you've got to pull the hose out. Have you got to pull the hose miles around the garden, which is going to take time? Are you going to have obstacles? Are you going to have to climb over things? Are you going to have to reach over things? Are you going to have to reach over a conservatory roof? Are you going to have to reach over plants? Are you going to have to reach over an extension? All these things will take time. Now, another thing that you might need to consider is there a load of windows above a flat roof? Are you going to have to get your ladder out and get up onto that flat roof to be able to clean those windows properly? Once you've got that total, you also need to add a little bit on for setting up and packing everything away. So I normally put on top of the amount of windows, I normally put on an extra fee. So I'll normally put, say, £250, £350 on top of the number of windows that you've added it up to be. The final thing that we need to think about with window cleaning is you need to have a minimum fee. If you turn up at somebody's house, it's taken you half an hour to get there, and they've got one window, you can't charge them £1 for that. So you've got to have a minimum fee. So depending on your area, it could be £10, £12, £30, but you've got to take that minimum fee into consideration, so you're always covered to do that job. So now we've gone through that, let's go and have a look at a couple of examples. So here we have a pub that's quite easy to price. So along the top we have 1, 2 windows, bottom right 3, we've got a small one across the top of the door which I'm not going to count, and then the big window I'm going to charge for 5. So that's 5 windows on the front. On the back, it's 1, 2, 3 small windows on the back. Then coming round to the side elevation, across the top, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then downstairs 9, 10. So that's 10 from the rear and the side, plus our 5 from the front. That would be 15. And then say we're putting £250 on, and it's £1 a window. That would be £17.50 with charge for the pub. Now we have a slightly more complicated property. It's a 3-storey building, and it's the property between the 2 red arrows. To start off with, we have a 3-storey, which would count as 2, 3 for the middle, and then 4, 5 for the 2 sides of the bay, 6 for the top of the bay, 7 for the bottom of the bay. So that's 7 windows on the front. So we're going to continue our count round the back. We've got quite a busy garden, so that's going to add 2 on, so that's 9. We've got 2 high level ones here at 2 each, that's 10, 11, 12, 13. 2 mid-level, 14, 15, and then across the conservatory at the back we've got 16, 17, 18, 2 small ones, 19, 20. Then we've got the back door, 21. We've got the 3 side windows, 22, 23, 24. Then we've got the 3 top ones, 25, 26, 27. So once again, if we're charging £1 a window, 27 plus a setting up fee, that would bring that up to a £30 property. If we look up, we've also got a lot of cables around this property. Now I know from the householder these are for aerials, so we don't need to worry about getting electrocuted, but always take cables into consideration. If you've got an electric cable or you don't know what it is, don't do that window or get anywhere near to it. Next, we're going to go on to gutter cleaning, or gutter emptying and fascia and gutter cleaning. So what you do when you're pricing up gutter emptying, turn up at the property and I measure the amount of gutters a person has got. So once again, you take into consideration height of the gutters, so whether they're on a first floor extension, whether they're on second floor or third floor. This is really important. You can charge a lot more for third floor. This is a specialist job. You've had to invest a lot of money to get the equipment to do these jobs. If it was easy, the householder would be doing it themselves. So you've got to charge accordingly. And the higher it gets, the less likely people are going to want to do it off ladders. So the more you charge per metre. So how do you work out the length? Well, there's 3 basic ways. So the first way is you go along and you count the gaps between the clips on the gutters. Now, quite often these clips are set at about 1 metre. So if you count the amount of gaps, you know you've got 10 gaps, you've got 10 metres of gutter. But this isn't always very accurate. Sometimes they put them a bit further apart, sometimes they put them a bit closer. So it's not a very accurate way of doing it. The second way of doing it is to step it out. Now I know my step is just under 1 metre. So I step it out and I stretch my steps out as I walk. Easy way to work this out is if you get a tape measure, put a couple of chalk marks that say 5 metres apart and get used to stepping out that 5 metres. So when your steps end at the right marks, you know that you've got that. Now the best way I've found though is using a measuring wheel. Just a cheap measuring wheel off Amazon. You start at the gutter, look up, line it up, and then you just wheel along. Now I've won jobs by having this, and the reason is the people have said that looks really professional. We know that you're measuring it up properly, you're not just guessing at it, and you know they're going to get a good accurate price. So now let's go off and have a look at a few different gutters. So on this old building here, to the right hand side is quite easy to measure, but on the angled bit it's a lot more difficult. You can't get near it to give an accurate measurement, so you're having to sort of get parallel to it and get a rough measurement, so you probably wouldn't be that accurate. So I find a better way to do it is to run the wheel along the wall. That way you can reach over plants and you get a good accurate measurement of the distance. We can see that the plinth sticks out here approximately a brick width. So we need to move it along the plinth a brick width at the bottom and then continue on measuring around the building to get a nice accurate measurement. Solar panels are really easy to price. All you need to do, count up the number of panels and work out how much you want to charge per panel. Now, I've got 2 sort of very rough ideas of how I work this out. If I can clean the solar panels without using a tower, or if I need a tower to clean them. For me, it's roughly £5 a panel to clean solar panels without using a tower. That's if you can reach them easily off the floor, no obstructions in the way, not having to extend your pole out and kill yourself. That is the easiest way. Or if they're on the floor, ground mounted. Now if you have to put a tower up, you've either got to hire a tower to do it, or if you own a tower, you've got to pay for your own tower. You've also got to pay for the time it takes to put it up, and then the time it takes to take it down again. And if you're hiring it, you've got to pay for picking it up, dropping it off, or collecting it from wherever they drop it off for you. So you need to take that into account when you're pricing it. Because I own my own tower, all I do is charge £10 to £12 per solar panel, depending on how much tower I'm going to have to put up and how easy it's going to be to get to it. Another way of doing it is you charge your £5 per panel, then you add on what it's cost you to hire your tower and a bit of extra for the time putting it up and collecting it from the hire shop. So finally, we're going to come to pressure washing. Now, some people don't even go to a job to quote them for pressure washing. They'll have a look on Google Earth and measure it out on Google Earth, and that will give you an idea of the area. So if you've got a job that you're quoting and it's miles and miles away, it might not be worth going and quoting it. You can also get the householder to send you photos, but the trouble is you don't get to check the water pressure if you do it that way. You don't get to see all the obstacles, you don't always get to see the drainage. So me personally, I find the best way to quote pressure washing is to go and visit it. The easiest way of doing it, again, is stepping out the area. If you've got a nice square drive, you can either go, that's a 1-car drive, that'll cost so much, that's a 2-car drive, that'll cost so much. You could step it out and work out the area of it, and then what I do, if it needs pressure washing, I'll give one price per metre. If it needs pressure washing and sanding, I'll give another price per metre. If it needs pressure washing, sanding and resealing, then it's another price per metre. Now that's great if you've got a nice square area, but if you've got loads of different paths and little alleys going here, there and everywhere, it's going to be a lot more awkward. So that's when you could use the Mosier 2. So the Mosier 2 comes with the stick, which you can attach your phone to. Well, you need to attach your phone to it, and then you download the Mosier app, and then you have the Mosier device, which fits on the bottom of the stick, like so. Once you've got that set up, you can now go and measure irregular areas accurately, and you're not going to be trying to work out awkward triangles, you're not going to be trying to work out radiuses and arcs and things like that. The Mosier will do that all for you. It takes into consideration the difference of on a slope. Say if you had steps or something like that, this will work out the height difference and the length and the height of each step as you go through it, measuring it, so you know that you've got an accurate measurement. Because as we all know, if you measure something flat or on a slope, you've got two different measurements. So if you haven't already seen it, check out my introduction video to the Mosier. I'll leave a link up above, and in the description I'll put a link as well for your Mosier. And yeah, great little bit of kit. So what we'll do now, we'll go out, we'll measure a couple of jobs up, I'll show you how it works, and we'll work out how much we're going to charge for a pressure washing job. So you can see here, as you go around an irregular shape, you just keep placing the Mosier on the floor, and it takes an accurate reading of where that's being placed. So on the right hand side of the screen, you can see as I'm going along, it's bringing up the actual shape of what I'm measuring, giving you a nice accurate area. Here's the area that I measured out, and we can see at the bottom there it's an area of 73.65 meters. So then you can times that by the amount that you're charging per meter. So I hope you found this video useful. It helps giving you some tips to work out pricing. The more you do it, the easier you find it. And if you've got a system in place, you can put that on your website and people will have an idea how much you're going to charge before you even get there. So you're taking time wasters out of the scenario before you've even gone there. So that will save you time as well. So make sure you check out Mosier's website. Fantastic website, fantastic bit of kit, really useful. So I hope you found the video useful. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.